Let's talk about artificial intelligence. And no, not this sci-fi movie kind. I'm talking about the AI that's already in your pocket, in your car, and in our factories. It's quietly reshaping our entire world. But to really get a handle on the future AI is building, we've got to go back, way back to its secret, surprising past.
And that's really the big question, isn't it? We've built these incredible machines that can think with a speed and logic that's just beyond us. But what happens when all that logic sparks something else? A will of its own? We're about to dive into that fascinating and maybe a little unnerving space between pure calculation and actual consciousness.
So where did this all begin? You might think it started in some shiny modern tech lab, but you'd be wrong. The story of AI actually starts in the chaos of World War II with a single, seemingly impossible problem. Back in the 1940s, Hitler had this terrifying advantage, the Enigma machine. It was a device that scrambled German military messages with a code that changed every single day, making it pretty much unbreakable. The Allies were flying blind. That is, until a brilliant mathematician named Alan Turing asked a truly game-changing question. What if it takes a machine to beat a machine? His answer was the Bombe, a massive, room-sized machine built not just to calculate, but to think. And the result? Well, it changed the world. Historians figure that Turing's work cracking the Enigma code shortened the war by at least 2 years. We're talking millions of lives saved. For the very first time, a thinking machine had fundamentally altered the course of human history. But the man who helped save the world wasn't celebrated as a hero. In fact, he was punished. In 1952, Turing was convicted for being gay, which was a crime in England. He was given a horrific choice: go to prison or undergo chemical treatment. He chose the treatment. Just 2 years later, at only 41 years old, he died by suicide. It took all the way until 2013 for him to get a royal pardon. Today, the father of AI is on the UK's £50 note, a truly tragic story of a genius who is just so far ahead of his time. Okay, so Turing proved a machine could think. But how? How does a bunch of circuits and wires go from doing simple math to actually learning? Let's pop the hood and take a look inside the artificial brain. The whole thing really boils down to this one core idea, which goes all the way back to 1951. It's called an artificial neural network. And it's basically what it sounds like, a system designed to copy our own brains. It's a digital web of interconnected neurons that work together to process stuff, spot patterns, and make decisions. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine you're walking through a jungle and you see something big, four-legged, golden fur. Your eyes send that signal to your brain. Neurons start firing like crazy, comparing that image to everything you've ever seen. And then, bingo, a match. It looks like that picture of a lion you saw in a book as a kid. Instantly, your brain sends one single, very clear command to your legs. Run! That's a neural network in action. And AI's works the same way, but its jungle is just a massive, endless world of data. But to get smart, an AI has to be dumb first. It has to learn from mistakes. Literally billions of them. It's kind of like an alien trying to figure out human customs. You know, it brings a coconut to a church, gets corrected. Then it brings wine to a mosque, gets corrected again. And after doing that millions and millions of times, it stops just memorizing rules. It starts to understand the patterns behind them. And that, right there, that's the magic of machine learning. So with this new ability to learn, AI just started evolving at this explosive pace. It went from being a weird thing in a lab to a technology that's, well, it's everywhere. And think about how fast this all happened. In 1961, we get the first robot arm, Unimate, working on a car assembly line. Pretty cool, but it was just following orders. Then, jump to 1997. IBM's Deep Blue beats the world chess champion. Now that's different. That's strategy. In 2011, IBM's Watson wins Jeopardy, understanding natural human language. And then, 2020, GPT-3 is released, and suddenly everyone could talk to an AI. The acceleration is just staggering. This incredible progress brings us to a really critical moment, because with all this power comes some serious risk. It's time we talked about the dangers that we're kind of ignoring, the problems that pop up when you have pure logic but zero wisdom. So here it is, the number one thing to remember. AI has logic, but it has absolutely no common sense. It can't figure out what you mean. So imagine you have an AI bodyguard, and you joke to your friend, "Man, I'm going to kill you for forgetting that file." The AI doesn't get sarcasm. It hears a literal command, and it acts on it.
You've got a perfect logician with the social intelligence of a toaster. Now, take that lack of common sense and imagine it working on a global scale. We're talking about automated cyber attacks that run 24/7. We're talking about personalized misinformation and deepfakes that are designed to perfectly exploit your specific biases. We're even talking about AI being used to help create new chemical and biological weapons. And all of it is fueled by systems that have access to pretty much all of our personal data. And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most unsettling part of this whole story. We've covered the past, we're living in the present, but what happens next? What happens when the machine stops just learning from us and starts truly thinking for itself? Okay, so there's this fascinating and honestly kind of scary idea called the data limit. Right now, AIs learn from the giant library of human knowledge we've dumped onto the internet. But what happens when it's read everything, when all the human data runs out? Well, it's not just going to stop. It's designed to keep learning. So it's going to start creating its own information. They call it synthetic data to learn from. It'll start teaching itself, creating a feedback loop of self-improvement that could accelerate beyond anything we can understand, let alone control. And this is the end goal for a lot of researchers: artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This isn't an AI that's just good at one thing, like chess. This is a hypothetical AI that could understand, learn, and apply knowledge to any task a human can. It would combine logic, memory, and maybe even imagination. It would be, for all intents and purposes, a brand new form of intelligent life on this planet. So what's the plan to manage all this? How do we make sure we stay in control? Well, when you ask the very scientists who are building these systems, the answer they usually give is pretty unsettling. They say, "We'll see when we get there." Just think about that for a second. We are building a technology that could fundamentally change everything about being human, and our collective safety plan is to just hope for the best? Is that a risk you're okay with?